Klaus, you behind that thing?
Yeah, I'm here.
What is that?
Oh, this is art. The wife said the bologna shop needs some class and I should put up some art. You know, ain't nobody happy if Mama ain't happy. Well, this art happens to be drawn by Norman Rockwell.
I always liked him. What's the picture of?
Well, it's actually 4 pictures that he did back in World War II. 4 pictures that they happened to put on this one poster.
Well, what are the 4 pictures?
Well, as I said, this was World War II, and people wanted to be reminded what they were fighting for, so Rockwell did 4 paintings which he called Ours to Fight For. He drew 4 freedoms that we held dear in World War II. Those 4 freedoms were freedom from want, freedom from fear, freedom of speech, freedom of worship.
Do you mind if I take a look at that?
No, not at all. Here.
You know, Klaus, I don't know how to break this to you, but I think you've been ripped off. You did say there was supposed to be 4 freedoms here, didn't you? 4 pictures?
That's right, 4 freedoms. Freedom from want, freedom from fear, freedom of worship, and freedom of speech.
Well, Klaus, there's only 2 paintings here. Where did you get this thing?
Oh, in Houston. I got it in Houston, Texas.
Well, I think you've been ripped off. As I said, this poster only has 2 freedoms. Freedom of worship and freedom of speech are left out.
You know, I thought about that too, and so I called the art gallery up. They said the poster was right. At the National Cemetery in Houston, Texas, there no longer is freedom of worship or freedom of speech.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, the cemetery's director, Arlene Ocasios, told old volunteers with the National Memorial Ladies that they had to stop telling families, God bless you at funerals, and they had to remove the words God bless from condolence cards.
Yep, that would be freedom of speech and freedom of worship.
Oh, there's more. Ocasio told volunteer honor guards that they couldn't recite prayers at funerals without approval of the deceased veteran's family.
Well, getting approval doesn't sound so bad.
No, it doesn't, and it isn't. Unless you realize that honor guards can't get approval because the Veteran Administration National Cemetery Administration does not allow volunteer honor guards to submit any text to veterans' families for review.
Klaus, this is unbelievable. Knowing you, I bet there's more, right?
Oh, and there is. Vietnam veteran Nobleton Jones says for 3 years he's presented the shell casings from the gun salute to the veterans' family members, but after a burial ceremony on May 16th, Jones was told he no longer could say to the family, get this, we ask that God grant you and your family grace, mercy, and peace.
Klaus, I don't know what to say.
Well, you can certainly understand why there are only 2 freedoms left on that poster.
Oh, I can, and I can also understand...
That this is baloney. You know, a lot of these vets who are being buried are from World War II. They fought for all 4 of Norman Rockwell's freedoms, not just 2. This nation's always stood for all 4 of those freedoms, not just 2 of them.
You know, and it's baloney when bureaucrats think that they can take these freedoms away.
You know, while you were talking, I thought about a passage from the Bible. It's from Psalm 78. This is what it says. I will utter dark sayings from of old, things we've heard and known that our fathers told us. We will not hide them from our children, but tell to the coming generation the glorious deeds of the Lord and His might and the wonders that He has done. You know, our country's been so blessed. I think that's what we ought to be doing, telling the next generation of God's glorious deeds and the wonders He has done for our nation.
I agree. You know, I can also think of a passage. Mine's from Psalm 22. It says, all the ends of the earth will remember and turn to the Lord, and all the families of the nations will bow down before Him, for dominion belongs to the Lord, and He rules over the nations.
God rules the nations, not the bureaucrats who want to be so politically correct and would take away our freedoms.
So, I mean, is there anything we can do about this?
Well, lawsuits have been filed, but I'd sure encourage you to pray for our nation. Pray that we realize what God has done, and we're proud of what He has done. That's far better than the baloney which is being served up, the baloney which is coming from people who think that we, not God, have won the battles.
You too can become the baloney expert and have your picture hung on the wall. If you find a news story you think is an obvious bunch of baloney, email your story to ken.klaus@lhm.org. If your story is used in a Baloney Shop episode, we'll hang your picture in this honored spot.